Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a worth the buy or nah foundation review on a very affordable foundation that just came out, and that is the Kokie Cosmetics. This does retail for $13, and I was really intrigued because I did review their HD foundation and I did enjoy it. And as you guys can see, they took it up a notch because this is like so luxurious looking. I am living for this packaging. It's supposed to be a full coverage, lightweight foundation that delivers seamless matte complexion that will last all day long. So I am living for that, especially because I am an oily skin lady. I have combination skin going on right now. And I just feel like I really do enjoy a matte foundation, especially when it's comfortable and long wearing. Another reason I'm excited about this foundation is because Kokie Cosmetics is from Maryland, and I am a Maryland girl, so it's fun to see a makeup brand be from the state that I'm from. So let's just go ahead and get right into this because I am really curious about this affordable new foundation. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and moisturize. So I'm gonna be using my Bliss moisturizer. This is a watermelon water jelly hydrator. I've been so obsessed with this, guys. Like I mentioned this. A lot of brands have been coming out with like jelly hydrators. I know e.l.f. just did like a jelly collection. So I kind of want to try that out. And this is really good for like combination skin, oily skin. So I am in it. For eye makeup, I'm using another Kokie Cosmetics palette. This is the Artist palette in Peachy Queen. The colors in here are like gems. Do you see that? They're so pretty. I use the orangey colors and I just feel like it's a perfect look. I was really inspired by I Love Sarai. I watched her like affordable makeup tutorial and she used like really pretty bright colors, and I was kind of inspired by the color scheme. So I was like, let me go ahead and get into this. So now I'm gonna be using a mixture of two primers. We're gonna be using mattifying primers. I'm gonna be using my Really Matte Primer by BAKLAVA Cosmetics Ever Matte Poreless Primer. And I'm only gonna be using that in the areas where I have a little bit of enlarged pores because that really does help kind of minimize the appearance of those enlarged pores. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of tap it in that area because I find that it applies the best with tapping motion. I just feel like it blurs instantly. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Just patting motions. I find that when I like do too much of like pushing the product in and really blending it out, it tends to get a little bit drying. So I just like to pat, especially in these areas where I have those enlarged pores that I kind of want to minimize. And then I go ahead and take a little bit of that product and just apply it on my smile line. And then on the outer edges today, I'm going to be using another mattifying product. This is my L'Oreal Infallible Matlock. This one is a little bit more hydrating than the Becca one, so I like to use this kind of like all over because I feel like it really does a good job of keeping everything nice and oil-free. It doesn't keep it like extreme matte, but it definitely keeps it oil-free for longer than when I don't use like any mattifying products. So now we're gonna be taking the foundation. Actually, I have two colors. So they did go ahead and send these to me. I have the shade 40W and then 60W. So I think these are the two shades that I'm working with. As you can see, this is the lighter shade. Let's just kind of blend it. This is the darker shade. What do you guys think? I wish you guys could tell me. I think I'm gonna go in with that one. So I'm gonna apply that on my face and I'm going to get rid of the other color. I'm going to be using a sponge for this side of my face and then using a brush for this side of my face. So it's definitely a more creamier consistency. It doesn't budge, so it's not gonna be like sliding off the face. I saw one of the main ingredients is water, which is good to know. And I like the fact that even though water is one of the main ingredients, it still keeps a nice creamy consistency instead of like super duper liquidy. I noticed a lot of foundations that tend to have like water as their main ingredient. They're super like liquidy and runny, but this one isn't. But it's not like those like really like pasty foundations that are matte that just have a very like dry clay-like finish. This does feel hydrating. I feel like the color actually matches my neck really well. And that's hard because a lot of times foundations like have a hard time matching my neck. Like they'll match like my hands sometimes or like my face, but they'll never really truly match my neck. And I feel like this is matching my neck pretty close. I ended up going in with the shade 60W, which I'm pretty sure stands for 60 warm, instead of going in for 40W, which is 40 warm. I feel like 40W is a little tiny bit too light for me. So let me just go ahead and take that off so I don't confuse myself. It does have a pretty like yellow undertone, but it's definitely maybe like a shade or two lighter than me. So I'm sure that for some of you guys that would work great. For me, it's not gonna work good right now, especially because I do have a tan. So this is with one pump. I went in with a very tiny pump, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit more. As you can see, the product isn't runny, but it's a very creamy, hydrating consistency that I'm really liking, and it feels good to the touch. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. Forehead. I like how this is quickly blending in with my sponge. The sponge isn't absorbing too much of the product, which I really appreciate. It covered my redness. It looks very pretty too. I think the one thing that's really hitting the nail for me is the color. The color is like on point. And it still looks like skin. It does have like a soft matte finish, but it's not like matte where you're like, ooh. And in case you guys are wondering, I am using my e.l.f. sponge. I live for this sponge. It is a favorite. So good. Really recommend you guys try this sponge out if you haven't done so, or you're looking for something more affordable in case you use like something like the, what is it called? The Beauty Blender, and you want to like not spend $20 on a Beauty Blender. I really recommend this. I feel like ever since I discovered this, like I will not go back. I also really love the Morphe one, but I find that this one is much softer and it gets really, really big. I only use the Morphe one now for baking my under eyes, but this is a great sponge for the face. Look like. So I definitely see the difference, and I feel like now that it's kind of setting into the skin, it's picking up a little bit more of a matte finish, but still like your skin healthy. I mean, my skin looks very like perfected right now. It looks like I have like a filter. Like it just looks so pretty. So I feel like it's speaking true to its claim, like very first impressions, that it's not feeling heavy. Like I'm able to like move my face and not feel like, ooh, there's a lot of product. So I really do appreciate that about this. I feel like it's setting well. Let's touch it. It is a little bit sticky though. It's not too sticky, but it's definitely a little bit sticky. I'm not the biggest fan of sticky foundations, but that's just something. So now we're gonna move on to the side with my brush. For brush, I'm gonna be using my JH03 brush. This is the Morphe with Jaclyn Hill Kabuki brush, and I really love this brush. It's one of my favorites. And I'm gonna be taking foundation, and I'm going to be applying this, just dotting it all over my cheek area, because that's kind of where I like to really target the foundation, because that's where I have the most issues, aka my redness. And I really want it to like cover, so I'm just gonna pat it right into my skin. Wow, it gives a very quick coverage. You guys can see already covered. I feel like it covers a little bit faster with the brush, because you guys saw like it covered that really quickly. Maybe because the brush isn't damp, and the let me fix this, and the sponge is, but the sponge doesn't fall too far behind. I feel like the finish that we got with the sponge is still super beautiful. I just feel like if you are in a hurry and you're trying to like quickly apply the foundation and you have to go, then I would probably use a brush if you want like that fuller coverage. It does give me a really pretty matte finish. Okay, so on this side we went in with 2 pumps. We didn't really pump out too much the first time around. So this is with 2 layers. This is with 1 layer. I feel like it looks really good either or. Definitely if you go in with 1 layer, you get a little bit more of like skin-like finish. in a way that like it looks a little bit more natural. So this is definitely a foundation that even though it's full coverage, you can still get a natural vibe out of it, because that's what I'm seeing on this side. This side looks a little bit lighter in coverage than this side, but I still do think that both sides look beautiful. I really don't want to pack any more product on this side, even though we did go in with 2 layers on this side, because I feel like this side looks really good as is, and I've just become such a fan of less is more. So like if this looks good, I'm good to go. Maybe I'll go in and like put a little tiny bit more in like little areas where I feel like I could use it, but like for me to go in with another full layer, there's no need for that. Typically when I'm working with a foundation that is matte, and let's say I already went in with a full coverage layer with my brush, and I just kind of want to go in with some touch-ups, I like to take my damp sponge because it is a little bit wet. So if I go in some little areas that may need a little bit more product, I can go ahead and just blend them out with a sponge. If it tends to be a little bit more than I expected, the sponge will do a good job of absorbing any of that extra product so that it doesn't give it a very like super full coverage look that we may not be going for, or it doesn't make it look cakey. But I do have to say the foundation does not look cakey. It looks healthy. It gives you like a nice matte finish that just looks really good, especially for somebody that's looking for a matte finish. Next thing for us to investigate through this process today is going to be if it's long wearing. So that's definitely always our goal, to see how this wears throughout the day. But right now I'm really liking it. It's not settling into any of my fine lines. It's working really well with my mattifying primers, the one by L'Oreal and the one by Becca. Some foundations don't because it's too much matte, but this works perfect with that. Also, this color 60W is one that I'm really liking on my complexion right now, and it's not accentuating my textures. Some matte foundations really accentuate the texture on my skin. I don't have too much right now, but I do have some, but it's not making it look more obvious than it is, or like making it look like, whoa, she looks like a lot of stuff going on there. It doesn't look like that. It just looks nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of this makeup, and then I'm gonna come back and give you guys my first initial thoughts of everything and how everything worked together, and then we can go ahead and start our day and see if this Kokie foundation is worth our cash. Because, I mean, right now, it's looking pretty damn good. So I am back. I finished my entire face of makeup, and I went ahead and changed. All my details on this makeup look will be down below in the description box. You guys can go ahead and check that out. But I do want to talk about the foundation. So I went ahead and had this foundation on for probably about an hour. I went ahead and was taking my sweet time, was watching YouTube videos and just doing my face and like really examining the makeup. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with how it worked with my bronzer. I used cream bronzer today, and I also set it with my powder bronzer. For cream bronzer, I just used my favorite Wet n Wild contour stick, and then I used my Fenty Beauty bronzer, and it worked great. Like nothing was separating, everything was perfectly in place. Then I also used, where is it? Oh, I just put it away. I used my Kokie Cosmetics blush palette, and I used some blush, and it also worked really well. I do want to talk about concealer and powder. So for concealer, I decided to just stick to a concealer that was from the same brand, and that is the Be Bright Illuminating Concealer. This concealer is really nice and lightweight, but it's just very hydrating and fresh. I feel like a lot of people that have dry skin probably really enjoy this, but I figured this would be perfect consistency to work with the foundation, because the foundation is a little bit thicker in consistency as opposed to this concealer, so it would like neutralize it as opposed to having two super thick products. So when I applied it, everything went on great. It wasn't separating. I used my sponge and it went on perfectly. But then I went in with my setting powder and I left it a little too long on this side. And I did notice that some of the product kind of like separated a little bit. So I had to go back in and reapply, and still I feel like there's like a little area where it's a little chunky. I just feel like maybe it was too many products with the powder and I left the powder on too long. This side I had no issues, but I did dust away the powder immediately on this side. So I would say if you do have to go ahead and bake your under eyes, just make sure that you don't leave it on for long. Leave it on for approximately like 15 seconds and then dust it away. So that's just something to note. But I mean, it worked well because I did go ahead and do a little bit of highlighting with the concealer, and it worked perfectly with the foundation. Like I mentioned, with this foundation, I would recommend using a more hydrating, lightweight concealer as opposed to a very thick, full coverage concealer. I mean, you don't even need that because the foundation is super nice in coverage, but that's my recommendation for a concealer if you do go in with a concealer. This one's very nice, very, very great hydrating product that I definitely recommend you checking it out. But so far, I really love how this foundation looks. I feel like it complements my complexion really well. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel cakey. And I really like the fact that it's still nice and matte and in place. Sometimes some matte foundations that I have been testing out, it'll be nice and matte when I first apply it, but then as I'm doing the rest of my face, I notice that it starts to get some luminosity peek through, and I'm kind of like, are you serious? So I go back in and set it with some powder, dust the powder away, and then we move on. But with this one, I haven't gone back in and set it with powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and go enjoy the rest of my Sunday, and I will see you guys later for the last official verdict. So stay tuned so you guys can find out whether this is worth it or not. Okay guys, so I am back right now. It is 11:55 p.m. It's about to be midnight. I am like on a roll with these midnight check-ins, but this is our last check-in for the day, and I wanted to give you guys my final thoughts on the new Kokie Cosmetics foundation. And I have to say, guys, I am impressed. There is a little bit of like dew that's about to peek through, but then again, it's been a long day. It hasn't just been like 2 hours, you know? I feel like now the foundation does have a little bit of luminosity, especially in the areas where, you know, I get oily, but it looks healthy. And I feel like the foundation just became one with the skin. It's almost like I used my Morphe mist and just kind of blended everything together. Like, it just looks good. You see, like, the skin looks really good. The foundation is all still perfectly in place, like all throughout my face, which I really appreciate because I'm like, okay, this foundation is actually long wearing. It's not just like BSing me. It feels a little tiny bit sticky, but not as sticky as some of my other foundations where I'm like touching them and it's like super sticky and it doesn't transfer. Like the foundation is still in place. I do have to say one thing that I noticed at the beginning of the day, once I got off camera with you guys, is that my skin felt a little tiny bit itchy right down here. And I was like, ooh, I really hope this doesn't go left. And it was literally for about like maybe 5 minutes that it felt that way. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a foundation or what, but after that, I didn't feel that feeling whatsoever. It completely went away. I haven't felt that feeling since that moment that it did happen. But I mean, I was also examining my face because I'm like, I'm not trying to break out. I'm about to go on a trip. I can't have any blemishes. I need to be like picture perfect. And I'm not noticing any type of flare up or anything that may look like I had a reaction. So I don't know what that was about, but I just am letting you guys know in case you experience something like that. But other than that, I feel like for $13, this is really good. When I was out at dinner, I got a lot of compliments on my makeup. They're like, wow, your skin looks really good and like everything. And like right now I'm like, I could still wear this for like 2 more hours even though I'm going to bed. I definitely see myself gravitating towards this foundation a lot because I definitely do feel like the formula is really nice. It gives you such a beautiful true matte finish. The only thing I do want to say is that this foundation does come in 18 shades. I feel like they need more shades because I do feel like there needs to be more shades just because I'm all about inclusivity. Like I feel like everybody deserves a shade, and I feel like with 18 shades, that may not be something you can easily do. You can find this on their website. I think they also have it at select Rite Aid stores, but the best place to find it is on their website because I have a hard time. I'm from Maryland, like I'm from where this company's from, and I have a hard time finding their products. Like I haven't found a store near me that has their products. I don't know what's going on, but I just always have better luck purchasing online. So I would say purchase online. I do want to say that I do have a coupon code with Kokie Cosmetics. It's the Mex Beauty, and you can save 25% off your purchase. You don't have to use it if you don't feel comfortable using my code. I do make a little bit of commission off of it, so it's totally up to you guys, but I just wanted to throw that out there in case you are interested in purchasing this foundation. I will have all the information on the foundation listed down below in my description box, but you guys can see it. Like, it's not like I'm bullshitting you. Like, you guys can see how this looks on the skin. It's very few times where I come on camera at midnight and I'm like, oh, I still want to wear this, you know? Usually I'm like, I'm ready to take this off. I need to go to sleep. But like, I feel like I still look good. Like, can I go out somewhere? Can I go to the club right now? Those are all my thoughts. If you've tried this foundation, let me know what you think of it. Will you be purchasing it? Will you not be purchasing it? Let me know down below. I love starting a conversation with you guys because you guys just always give me some great feedback in the comment section. You guys are like my internet BFFs, and we always have some awesome conversations down below. So feel free to leave all your thoughts down below. Also, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy watching my foundation reviews. I love filming these for you guys. This is honestly like the core of my channel, the foundation reviews. I love it. So thank you so much for your constant support. Also, if you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. I would love for you to become a member of family here on YouTube because I wouldn't want you guys to miss my videos. And I also feel like I bring you guys some good content. So why not subscribe and just join the fun? That being said, I love you guys so much, and I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye, guys.